Yes, I'm back on. Yes, I'm back on. They just disconnected me. I was just disconnected, people. Yes, hello, hello, hello. This is Spirit Journey. And I was just doing a live stream regarding the unaliving of Charlie Kirk. And I will be discussing about 9/11 because today is 9/11. And I was talking about when I got disconnected about. A school I had attended this school in back in New York City where I'm from, Brooklyn College, and we had one of those radicalized teachers. And I mentioned about a book that what call it the she was showing a film to the class. I forget what class it was. It wasn't sociology, but it was something a social type of class. And she showed a video, a video regarding the toddler pageants, and they were being sexualized. It's just, I think, to shock you. I sat up in front, and then the textbook we had to read was one of those. You would call them woke, a woke book, and it was the first time I ever saw a book like this. So it was just very foreign to me to read a book. The teacher was a white female, uh, maybe in her 50s, um, chubby, supposed to be like one of those liberal teachers. And the book was weird. And the book was written by uh, an Asian man, like an East or Southeast Asian man who had a hatred for white people. And yeah, and as I was saying that, I got disconnected on my live stream. So it's like I'm limited to what I could say doing a live stream. It almost got disconnected earlier in the first part of the video I was just kicked off on in the very beginning. So people don't want certain topics or certain words to be spoken, it seems to me. But yeah, so my point of this part, Charlie Church, again, I did not know him. I know I've heard his name before. He had an organization he started at 18 because he noticed that the college professors were promoting liberalism, and that if you had a contrary opinion, you can be, they can fail you. They can do things. Oh, yeah. And I've seen something like that too. Uh, yeah, if they don't like you, the professor, they can, they can give you an extremely low grade. But and I'll talk about that too. But the class in particular, it was a very bizarre class. Weird professor, weird student sitting next to me. And it was one of those woke classes with the woke book. And so what they do is like that they get authors to spread you know, usually it's an anti conservative sentiment, usually targeting uh, white conservatives, white people. And in particular, if it's a white man, they'll go for the juggler. I know this might sound different to you. Some people might say, "Oh, why you talk about those people?" You know, um, I out anything black or white. I'll share my opinion. About both groups. Um, I'm about doing the right thing. You don't have to like somebody. A lot of things I don't like, but you don't unalive someone because of their opinion. And it's like open season on certain types of people. They say, well, though that person's a racist. Just because someone is called a racist doesn't mean that they are racist. And they're getting certain people on the bandwagon, certain people in the Black community to just believe anything that's being told. And that is what I'm against. And so, like, I had woke up early this morning, and I saw it pop up on my screen, and it was kind of disturbing, and about the unaliving of Kirk. So Black Channel, and I found her very offensive, and I did comment. I think I was the first person to comment on this channel, and I won't give the name of the channel. So I'm not about people. Oh, let's go on that channel and say bad things. But no, I'm not into that. I'm not into, promoting fighting amongst other YouTubers. But I just said politely that I thought he was insensitive. And not everybody who's a conservatism does not mean that you're anti-Black. And I say that again. Just because someone is white, and just because someone believes in owning a a bang bang, does that mean that they want to use it against all Black people. You do have people who do harm because they're criminals. There's a difference of owning a bang bang and those who have a bang bang who want to use it for being a criminal. They're two separate things. And why, the Black community is a community that's harmed by bang bang. And it's not the bang bang, it's the people behind the bang bang that do it. So we all want to protect ourselves, right? Yeah, oh wow, more pop-ups about that, the unaliving of Kirk, Charlie Kirk, Charlie Kirk. Yeah, it's getting more known now. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about it now. Um, people are being taught to take sides in America. Okay, if they're conservative, they must be this way. Or if they're liberal, oh, they must be this way. When are people, aren't people just people? Some people like apples, some people like oranges. But to unalive and the radicalization in America, for me, it seemed like the radicalization. I mean, I see now, thinking back on my college days, people were being programmed to think a certain way. And I think people being taught to go against nature, the natural order of things, about community, about caring for your neighbor, and now to just just go against your own body. And people being programmed in colleges and targeting young teenagers, people who are just learning how to become an adult, who might be getting a job for the first time. It's a different role, and that people are recruiting and programming young people to be, radicalized and to just join organizations. And again, what I was talking about in the first part of this live stream that was disconnected, so I had to quickly, you know, restart it again to do the second, to continue on the conversation. Yeah, people are being radicalized, and they're so graphic videos or pictures, and the kid feels like, oh my God, and they feel like they have to follow this group. Oh, if you think this way. Yeah, I remember. See, I remember all that. Yeah, I started college in 1980. I started a job like maybe 3 weeks before. Oh no, a month before maybe. And boy, I remember that. Yeah, I remember a lady. And this lady that I work with, she was one of those woke, we would call them now woke. And she was of the alphabet soup community. And she was into cocaine. Oops, I'm not supposed to say that word. You know, the thing that you snort. And she was trying to corrupt me. I was 17, 18 years old. That's still young. Even if I was 18, reached my 18th birthday, to do that to a young person. And she was 40 or in her 40s. Shame on you, woman. I remember her name. I won't give her name. Yeah, she'll be 80 now. Yeah, she'll be in her 80s. Wow. Yep, I remember her. And she was a very radical, uh, dark-skinned black woman from Virginia. And I remember she just was filled with hatred, hatred. It just seems like people of that community have so much uh, anger. And I think that blacks, even back then in 1980, were um, being turned out to hate men. And again, she was married. She had a 6-year-old kid at that time. And she said, well, it's okay because it's okay for her to have other relationships because, for her husband to have other relationships. And she's also meaning for herself. I remember her saying, men have needs. Yeah, she was bent both ways, but she was just an angry person. Her background is from Virginia, and this is 1980. So again, she, you know, in the 1960s and everything, she was, born under Jim Crow, segregation. So I understand that as an adult. I'm not from the South. I'm from the North in America, and so I understand as an adult now. But what I don't appreciate is that, okay, she doesn't like certain people, and I understand, but you don't try to corrupt and try to sexualize young people. In my opinion, you don't try to put, she had wiped this substance on my arm. I didn't know that she asked me for a nail file, and I was very much into my nails back then, my natural nails back then. And I didn't know she was going to use it to snort. Disgusting. Yeah, you have these liberals who, yeah, let me not use that term liberal. See, it's not the label, it's the behavior. Let me make that clear. It's not the label, it's the behavior. It's a behavior of corruption. This woman was trying to corrupt me using an illegal substance and then wiping it on my arm once I saw what she was going to do. I said, oh my God. I was just shocked. And she thought it was funny. We have people who, you might have the freedom to do things behind closed doors or whatever, but you don't have the freedom to impose nastiness on people. And I have I'm in the middle. I believe in freedom, and I'm I'm kind of conservative too. I'm a blend of both. Do the right thing. that's my sense. Try to do the right things. No one is perfect. And this is we're here on this planet to learn. So that's it. I'm a student of this of what we call life. So, but it just brought me back here. Charlie Kirk being unalive at a campus of a bunch of young people, and this could traumatize so many people for speaking out or just wanting to live a a goodly life, a conservative life, a professional life. We don't know. They have a suspect, but to find out why this was done, and he was saying something. What was he saying that when he got? They showed the video of him being unalived, and his last words. Wow, it's just ironic. His last words, and then him being unalive right there. About conservatism, and this is to intimidate people. Intimidate. It's a. People are imploding on themselves. People are being imploded in their mind, and they are lashing out. Stop doing this. You're having a problem. People are being overstimulated with news, negative news. And if you feel a little emotionally unstable, maybe just turn off your device and just relax and meditate or something like that. It's not worth it. And you're being manipulated, people. You are being manipulated to respond this way, or someone sells this label or that label. You know, people have always had different opinions, but it doesn't mean to lose control. And we're taking things so personal. And here I really started this started the first part of the live stream because of a fellow YouTuber, a black person, a black man, and I listened to his video about the incident of the unaliving of Kirk, and I just responded, it's so insensitive. And being conservative doesn't mean that you hate black people. And it's like black people are being conditioned to think and programmed to think, be careful of anybody who's conservative, who's white, because they don't like me. And that's the narrative they're spinning. And it's not true. It is not true. There are black people who have bang bangs at home. Does that mean that they hate all white people? Some people have a bang bang at home because they need to protect the families. It's like we allow in the black community in America just trash out there, trash literature, trash music, trashy lifestyles, um, boozing and drugging. And it's like, I don't see anyone talking about that. Yet there's tons of churches in the American black community. There are more churches than valid businesses, like a grocery store, quality good stores. You have more churches. I'm from Queens, New York, and in black neighborhoods in Queens where I lived, you have, on the main street, churches, big ones, and they try to compete with each other. churches, yet it's filled with violence, filled with violence. So why aren't we speaking out about that? Why do we have all these churches in black neighborhoods in America, yet that they have all this high crime? And I never hear them talk about that. But they want you to focus on who's your enemy. The enemy is within your own group. The enemy is within, and you're being manipulated, and you're harming yourself. I wasn't safe in New York City as a black single female with dogs. There were several attempts on me. They're in New York City by black people and by whites. But usually people target people from their own group. So most of the people that I was targeted, that targeted me were black men. And then you have the jealousies of black women against me because my accent wasn't like theirs. Isn't that discriminating? And then you had whites that got radicalized with all the melee. Both groups are being radicalized, and you are imploding and destroying yourselves. And I'm just saying, stop it. Both of us, blacks and whites, and everything in between, you are being radicalized. And I feel part of me was being radicalized with politics, which started for me in 2016. And then I noticed that, it was just like, wow, you can't speak if you are a supporter over a political candidate. And it was even pulling family members apart, even my own family. Come on, dudes. Come on. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You are being radicalized. Another plane. Sorry. Just a moment. Sorry about that. Yeah, you can't compete with those planes. Yeah. Yeah. People, that you're being used. Both groups are being used to war against each other. There is the war within you, and they're tricking you. They're putting up content, and they purposely want to radicalize people online to believe a narrative because they want you to believe that. People want to, it seems like people in the black community want to believe that we walk around like victims. Victim, victim, victim. But usually the people who are victimized in the black community are other black people. And no one says or does anything. But God forbid, if the assailant is a white person, and that's usually not the case. It usually is not. But if it is, let's say a cop, it usually now would be a cop, a white cop, right? Doesn't make it right. Yeah, and I had my experience with white cops in New York City when I was attacked. Yes, I was attacked by a white woman. And the insensitivity of the cops, it was 3 white men and 1 Hispanic female. And the arresting cop and the Hispanic female were very, very hostile and angry at me, the victim of the assault. I was walking, minding my own business in the middle of the traffic, and I got hit in my chest, center of my chest, by a crazed woman. It was a beautiful day. It came out of nowhere, and there were witnesses, and they helped capture the lady. It took 4 cops to subdue her. And yeah, she was released. They brought her to the hospital because she vomited. She was probably drunk. She looked like she was drunk. Yeah. There are a lot of things that happened to me. I know about racism. I was in the military. I was in the military. And I know what it's like to be around white people who may not like black people or just, they are who they are, some of them. And yes, they got away with certain things. And then there were other things. You have in the military, you have people, what I call the alphabet soup people who target you. Oh, yeah, you have women, you have lesbians in the military. And when they can't get any, they will target and get angry with you, the straight female. Yeah, it's horrible. It's so my I was exposed to many things. I was exposed to growing up with racism, sexism, and then being targeted, trying people of the alphabet soup community trying to get in your pants. Yeah, so it's one of those things. But now people are just being radicalized. And I was really taken back with this black YouTuber who it's I feel it's like he just wants viewers. Let's say this, let's say something bad about a man who just got unalived in public. Videos caught it on camera. What if someone did this, someone could have done the same thing to him because of his views. People, it's horrible. And it's all being orchestrated, I feel, that they're trying to push the race narrative so that you kill your, oh, excuse me, I'm not supposed to say it that way, so that you unalive yourself, that you get unalived. You said something, you thought something. Please stop it. Please stop it, people. It's sad. It's very, very sad. Um, wow. Yeah, I left America about 20 months ago. I just couldn't take it. I felt trapped. And I didn't want to get caught in the melee. I used to live near Times Square, and it was getting dangerous to go outside. The physical attack that happened to me, I think, happened in 2021. And then someone tried to jump me in 2020. Was that? Trying to remember, was it the same year? Yeah, but yeah, there were different things that happened. Something happened to me in 2020, and then I did 2021. The other thing, it was wow, a lot of things that were happening. And I had 3 dogs back then, and I they didn't allow dogs, even if they're in a crate, on buses. If there was emergency and an evacuation, how would it get out? I didn't know how it would get out. I called. We have a like an information number. I think it's either 311 or 411. It's like information. How get information about things. If you have a water leak or something happening, you could call for information or to get help or something like that. And they referred you who you need to contact. And I contacted one of those numbers in case of emergency, evacuation. I'm a middle-aged lady, and how would I escape? How would I need to leave? And I have these dogs, and the buses don't allow pets, even if it's in a crate. She says, "Oh, you just follow instructions." But yeah, I'm asking you now. I don't want to wait till the last. What do I do? How do I get out? She didn't have an answer for me, and that was over my head. And I felt that the social climate was intensifying. So the last straw, as many of you know that they tried to steal my dog in broad daylight, Lavender. Yeah, Lavender was really outgoing back then. Many of you remember him. He's still around. He's in my room right now. Yeah, he was very outgoing. Everybody loved Lavin, you know, and they tried to steal him from me. And when that happened, yeah, I can see it in my mind's eye, that person. Um, I said, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. And yeah, that happened in 2023 around July, August of 2023. And I had to work quickly to get everything together, get my visa, all that. Yeah, at first I was going to move to Mexico. I did get my Mexican visa. And then I said, I don't want to go there. I said, look, that country, they're bringing in the drugs into America to kill a lot of Americans. I said, no, I'm going to go overseas. And then I reinvestigated Rwanda, where I live. Yeah, in 2022, I initially was going to move then, but uh, the banking system wasn't open yet. And then I checked it out again in 2023 and found that the situation changed, and I applied for that visa, and the rest is history. Yeah, I'm glad I did leave, but I'm still an American, and I still care about what happens to my fellow Americans in America. You are out of control, people. You're out of control, and people are manipulating you. They're manipulating me. I felt on edge. Had a lot of anxiety back in America, but I'm watching the same type of videos, and I'm still very I'm scared. I'm scared for you. I'm scared for the planet because I feel that what's happening is being socially manipulated to do exactly what it's doing, getting this group against that group. Polarities. Polarities is the weapon of choice in America. Polarities. And you just have, please open your eyes. Please open your eyes. You all are being manipulated. The sex wars, male and females, out against each other. The biological ones and then the unbiological ones at each other. Black and white, feeling suspicious of each other, angry at each other. rich and poor, at each other. Just please open your eyes. You all are being manipulated. Politics, red against blue, blue against red. You're all being fooled. They're going to take away all your rights in America, and that you all become slaves to a system. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So a pop-up just came on my screen. Yeah, someone just commenting on give me the thumbs up for my comment on that channel, the black YouTuber who is very insensitive of someone being unalived, who done him no harm, but because he's allegedly a bigot, anti, he says specifically, he's against black people. See, you have black radicals also. See, I call it out. You do have black radicals, and I feel that they're being assigned to agitate uh, simple-minded black people, delicate-minded black people, gullible-minded black people in America, so that you get radicalized and you start doing acts of violence. That is my opinion. That is my opinion. Because being conservative does not mean that you're against someone because of their color. Most black people, my growing up, were from conservative homes. Conservative. Primarily the black community back in the day were churchgoers. Went to church. Was simple, weren't really out there. But we're being socially engineered. And we having outsiders. You have outsiders. And they manipulate you. You have people who are assigned in black communities to radicalize you. They're there to radicalize the black woman. And so now the reputation of black American women is so negative, right? Really bad. They're embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. Please wake up, people. Please wake up. But what I can't say about Black America, now I did leave America, and a big part of it was the racial climate was very violent. But it was people trying to make the different groups violent and hateful towards one another. I felt for me that I had to leave. I'm an older person now. I'm in my 60s. And I just want a place that I could just call home, beautiful weather, meet beautiful people, eat beautiful food. That's all I want at this part of my life right now. Just a simple life. And I felt for me in America, one thing, it's so unaffordable. Well, once I left my apartment to move here, I can't go back to America. I can't afford it. I can't afford the living there. It's too expensive. Too expensive. So now I'm here. It's affordable for now. And I'm very appreciative about certain, some things here. But I just saying for Black America, I think Black Americans are used. Our money is used. But it's not used for us, but against us. And our history in America wasn't the best. But all of the Americas, Central, South, and the Caribbean, it wasn't good for us. And maybe it's better that we leave to places that we may be appreciated more, or at least be safe, feel safer. So for me, I took the step. I said, I want to move. But I tell you this, people, be careful where you move to. Because, see, some of us are foolish in our thinking, and we bring our laundry with us, so to speak. We bring our dirty laundry and all the foolishness that we did back home, we do it abroad. You think you're cool, right? We think we're cool, that we can just come on to women or maybe not dress appropriately in certain social circumstances. You're not about you're not respectful of the culture sometimes. We've been hearing about things like that. So don't disrespect whatever you choose. If you choose to leave the country, be mindful of where, your behavior. Don't bring your dirty laundry with you. Take it easy. Be polite to people. Show um, respect to one another. Say hello, good morning, good afternoon. It goes far when you go overseas, people. It goes far. It goes far. Don't forget humanity. Don't forget humanity if you decide to move overseas. And yes, I see, you know, um, being careful about showing wealth. Yeah. Um, yeah, that America is a rich country. American standards of living, how, just to be able to get basic clothes and just basic jewelry or accessories. When you go out of the U.S., when you go out of the U.S., ah, you might be perceived as being rich. Even though, I'm not a rich person in America. Nope. And, but the cost of living, when you go overseas, your money does go farther. And so people see that and people could assume certain things. And so you have to be careful. Yeah, what you might consider conservative, they see as you have money. So that warning I will say to you. And no, it's not saying, oh, these are poor people. No, I'm not saying that. I mean, but call what is, but not to shame anybody. It's not about shaming, but being realistic that your American dollars can spend farther in certain nations. And the perception because of that, the perception, you bring your regular clothes here, you are perceived as rich. So be careful. And again, just like the perception that some Black Americans may have about their white counterpart having money, well, the same thing when you go overseas, people may perceive you with money and be jealous of you and blame you for their problems. I'm just being real, people. I am just being real at the assumptions that certain people have. That is always something. It's always going to be something. I could wear one of the contingent cloth, the African cloth. And then wear this contingent cloth here. But they still know who I am, even with the African cloth, and ask me for money. And how they ask here is quite alarming for me to hear. Little children are encouraged to say certain things to fleece you. It is awful because I never experienced that in America. I never experienced children targeting me, you know. Adults, yes. Adults, yes. But wow, when you go overseas, people, life is what it is. But make the best choice for you. What's best for you, you have to decide what is best for you. What type of lifestyle do you want to live? And if you decide to go to a black country, that yes, you might be black, but they may still perceive you as an outsider. You are who you are. You're from a nation. You're not from the same nation, these people. People are national. Even when I lived in the Caribbean, I used to live in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and people were what they were there. And I was perceived as an outsider and hated by some people there. And I've done them no harm. Some things you cannot escape. Like you might want to think that, oh, it's just a phenomenon that just happens in America, that whites are just against black people. When you go overseas, you're gonna you may experience, I should say, you may experience what it feels like to be perceived as an outsider by a person of color. And it's not a good feeling. It's not. I was made to also feel like an outsider in the state of Hawaii, the Aloha state. Yep, I kid you not, people. People are, you know, what's the word? Domains. There are different domains out there. There are domains in America. Let's say you're from California and you move to, let's say, Georgia, or vice versa. There's different domains. And if you don't have the same energy as where you're moving into, energy or vibrations or the feel, you will be perceived as an outsider. People are people, and people are being triggered. That's what I'm saying. So again, yeah, today is 9/11. It is 9/11 now. Wow. September 11th. And 24 years ago today, well, it's still not, okay. In America, it's still the 10th. Um, but yeah, at, what's that? It was about 9:45 in the morning, 24 years ago. Um, these planes or something uh, targeted the Twin Towers. Yeah, I had just returned back from living in Hawaii, coming back to the mainland, back to New York City, and I moved back to my parents. And I remember the day before, and I was crying, which was what was weird. Yeah, I'm a very sensitive person. I remember that evening, the evening before 9/11. Yeah, I was watching something on Oprah Winfrey, and I remember I went to bed, and yeah, I was trying to get my old job back. 2 weeks prior to 9/11, I was trying to get my old job back at Building 7. Building 7 at the, World Trade Center that collapsed on its own. Yeah. I used to work there. It was a beautiful, beautiful building. Yeah, I had left the job and I thought I was to start a new career in cooking. And yeah, I changed careers. I was in the financial district. I had a fantastic job. You know, I was support staff, but it was still a great job. And I got fed up with the politics on the job. And I said, I'm out of here. I said, hey, I want to try a new career. I'm going to go back to school. Yeah, I enjoyed school very much. But what doesn't change, even though you might change careers, you don't change who your inner self is. I was still the same old person, very insecure, very timid, and at the time, and yeah, it was not a good move for me, and the industry. I went into the cooking field and pastry arts, and it did not receive me well at all. And I got blacklisted in New York City, and and for my survival, moved moved to Hawaii to work in their hotel. Uh, they have a hotel strip in Lahaina, and you know what happened in Lahaina? Was that 2 years ago? Yeah, Lahaina. Was that 3 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago. Um, yeah, Lahaina, the town of Lahaina got targeted. And it was a major, 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 major catastrophe. It was a fire that happened. And yeah, I had went there and I just got fed up with everything. And I left it. And I thought, I couldn't wait to get back home to New York City to be with Black Americans. Yep, I say it like that because that's what happened. It was a lot of racism in Hawaii, and I got fed up. And I said, I'm going back home. I'm fed up. I was there for almost 3 years, Hawaii. And I said, I had enough. I was burnt out. I was burnt out. And I put in my resume, brought it to Building 7 at the World Trade Center. And I wasn't allowed upstairs. They said, leave it at the front desk here. Yeah, it was a new lobby. Oh, they did a beautiful job. It looked gorgeous, real high tech. And 2 weeks later, 9/11 happened. No building. It got zapped. It was quite trying. I remember 9/11. I remember. Um, so the day before 9/11, uh, I was very emotional. And then I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I was crying. I was crying at 2 o'clock in the morning. I felt lost. I didn't know what to do with my life. Um, I just felt ultra sensitive. That never happened before. Yeah, that morning at 2 o'clock in the morning on 9/11, 24 years ago, I just started crying and I didn't understand why. I was praying for 5 hours. Yeah, so now it was at 7 o'clock in the morning. Very interesting. 7 o'clock in the morning, I fell asleep. And then I woke up at it was approaching 9 o'clock in the morning. I went downstairs in the kitchen and my mother was cooking. And she said to me, hey, something happened to the Twin Towers. So I go in the room where the TV was, and you see this big hole in the building with smoke. And you heard the newscaster, was a male newscaster talking. I don't remember what news outlet it was. I don't know what it was. And then, like the newscaster was saying, like, Oh, it's probably, mechanical, something mechanical with the plane, but, downplaying it. But I was thinking in the back of my mind, he doesn't really believe that, but he's just saying that. I didn't believe that he really believed what he was saying. And then all of a sudden, you see something hit the second building. Yep. And then he started talking real excited. Oh my God, like that, real excited. He said, "This is not an accident." Yeah, it's not an accident. And all this thing. Yeah, it was quite jarring. And I remember when the first building collapsed. Now, what's interesting, the first building that got hit was not the first building that collapsed. It was the second building. That one collapsed. And I remember I was looking at it. And then you started to see the building, like the top part of the building, kind of tip over a little bit, like crack. And then, boom, just toppled down. I ran out the room. I ran out the room in excitement. I just was in shock. And then I went in my father's room. I think I'm not sure if knocked on the door, but I said, I told my father, I said, "Dad, the building just fell. The building fell. The building for the Twin Towers just fell." That's what I remember. And the rest really is history. Yeah. My condolences to the casualties of 9/11. Yeah, 9/11 got hurt. 9/11, the people, they thought, I remember they were playing the video over and over and over again, this particular clip. And it's really to terrorize people. And yeah, about close to 3,000 people that day lost their lives. About 3,000 people. And then not counting the people who died after because of the cancer they were getting. And I remember Bill Clinton telling the people, it was a couple of weeks after the 9/11 thing, that you should go down and do shopping and buy things. People, I was forced to work down there. Let me explain what I mean. Yeah, it was very toxic down there. It was extremely, extremely, extremely toxic. The chemicals in the air. Yeah, uh that January of 2002, I had to go to a homeless shelter. Yes, I was in a homeless shelter for my safety. And I remember the lady, the director of the shelter. It was a long-term shelter. Like first you go in the large facility, and they I forget what you call it, but they decide where you're going to go for a long stay. You get processed, and then they send you to various long-term shelters. And I was in a nice one, a woman's shelter. And the lady at the women's shelter was from Cuba. Um, her her behavior towards me was very negative. Okay, now here she's from a country, had to leave for her safety, most likely, 'cause her age and everything, you know. So she would have been alive at the time and had probably left here as a child. And I'm a veteran also, and she would have known why I was in the system and that I was a veteran. But who knows what she knew, what they actually told her. But she said to me, "You better get a job by the end of this month or you're out of here. Okay? That's what she told me. Right after 9, yeah, this was in January in 2002. And again, the 9/11 thing happened. And again, in 9/11, the building around it was all blockade, so the surrounding block was blocked off. It was toxic and smoke. The smoke was going up the air for months. It was all carcinogens. Yeah, it was very toxic. And people were dying as time went on from lung cancer. Yeah. Donna Summer used to live down there. And Donna Summer, the famous disco, the queen of disco, she passed away of lung cancer. She lived right across the street from the Twin Towers. Yeah. And they said, oh, well, she used to smoke. Okay, maybe she did smoke, but not living, but living across the street from the Twin Towers that got destroyed did not help. Yeah, there are people that I know. I know a woman who lived, she had her office building in direct line of where, up the block on Canal Street. Where was that? Um, it was on Canal Street, I think it was, but it was in direct line of, I think, on Sixth Avenue. And all the smoke went in her building, and she has problems now breathing. Yeah, yeah, and oh, yeah. So so a lot of businesses were not open. Even telecommunication was not open. Yeah, 'cause I remember I had a cell phone. Yeah, the cell phones were not working. A lot of telecommunication was not working because it was on the tower, the telecommunication tower on the, Twin Towers was now destroyed. So there was a lot of communication issues. There was flooding because, again, in downtown Manhattan, um, the foundation of the buildings at the World Trade Center was compromised and it was flooding. So you couldn't travel to work. So by January, so 3 months later, they tried to get people to buy stuff, but it was poison in the air. Well, when that lady from Cuba, the director of that shelter, it was a small shelter, it just had maybe 9 people, 9 people in that whole facility. Um, and then the staff. And she's a foreigner from a country that she had to flee from, and the 9/11 stuff. And then she insensitively said, you don't find a job by the end of the month, you're out of here. Real nasty like. But yet there they had 2 people from the Xinhua, China, were there, and they may not have had their papers, and they didn't have to abide by any of the rules. They didn't have to get a job. You also had to get a bank account because you had to have a savings plan, right? Which was all for our benefit. Yeah, I don't mind having a bank account and save money. Yeah, it was a fantastic program. You go there, try to get a job, save up money, and prove that you're saving money, you know. And then I remember also, oh, you better get an apartment, and just harassing you. Yeah, I put in paperwork to get an apartment. It took 13 months for me to get to, before I went into the shelter, I applied for this 80/20 building. It's a program that they have, at least in New York City, that when they build those big high-rise buildings, apartment units, they have to have the X percentage of people of a particular um, income level. And so I applied for the income level that I was uh, for, and it took, and I got accepted. It's a two process thing actually. You know, the initial um, applying and then see if you qualify, and then just before you move in, they check you again. And I barely made it, but I was so happy when I moved in. So happy. That was that 23 years ago? About 20? As I moved in, what's it, what year? 2003, I moved in. 2003, yeah. March 3rd, 2003, I moved in. Yep. I remember that day when I moved in. And so I was very pleased. So I was in that shelter for 13 months. And the maltreatment. And it's sad that here America was hurt. You have people, and in that shelter, most of the people were of color. Yeah, the mass majority of the people were all black. You had one person born in Puerto Rico, but now a resident in New York, but Puerto Rico is a part of the U.S. And at one point, you had this lady from Israel, white lady from Israel that was sent there. And then I remember there was one other Hispanic lady, really nice, that lady. She was an older lady. It was some experience. And but I remember the harshness of people that here you have people who are citizens who've done nothing to, you're in a situation and you're seeking refuge. So here a woman from Cuba seeking refuge in America, but yet I'm a US citizen and a veteran and being threatened if I don't get a job by the end of the month after something like 9/11. Oh yeah, so the whole point, my mentioning the story about 9/11. Okay, so this is around January of 2002, about 3 months after the World Trade Center collapsing, being targeted. Um, so I had to look for work, and I was scared because I didn't know what to do. So here, this lady telling me that she's gonna throw me out if I can't find a job. And here, this is a woman's shelter, and the lady's from Cuba. So I went to the World Trade Center, and there was I'm not gonna give the name of the place, but it was right across the street from the melee. Yeah, even back then in January, there was that big mountain of the thing in 9/11. The building. It took years to just clear away that garbage, the clutter, the building. It took years. It was a mountain like that for years of smoke. Still coming out. And I knew that because no one would want to work there, that I would probably find a job there because no one in their right mind would work there. But I felt pressured. And so I went to that building. It was a department store down there. And yes, I got a job there. Yeah, but I got sick. I got sick twice. Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot going on there. And there was a lot of targeting there. Yeah. It was something there back then. This was 24 years ago. Almost 24 years ago once I got the job there. And how selfish some people were, even back there. And yeah, I was forced to work there. I lasted, I think, 4 months there. I got sick twice. I had flu like symptoms, and I woke up one morning with a lump in my throat. I kid you not. And I was being harassed. Like, how dare you get sick? It's horrible. But an incident happened at the job, and they used the fact that I got sick twice. And again, that I should have put in for the 9/11 thing because I think it was directly related. Yeah, I never had those symptoms. It was the air, the quality of air. So I feel sorry for the people who were forced to work there, who got sick because of the 9/11. Yeah, and I also lived downtown too at the time. That homeless shelter was downtown, and I got sick. So some things, bad things can happen to people, but maybe it was allowed to happen like that to me because life knew if I stayed down there that something more serious would happen to me health wise. So now I'm out of there. Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, the 9/11 thing was very, very personal to me. Yeah, I thought to get my life back and I wanted to be back with the Black community. And here, we're just, the Blacks in New York were just against one another. We were mobilizing against each other. And then with the George Floyd thing, we got animated and just went on a rampage. Yeah, it's very sad. Very, very sad. What happened to George Floyd, that should not have happened to him. But I question who the Black community in America, who they really rally for. There was another Black person who was savagely slaughtered. But because he was a jogger and more of a middle class background, I feel that's why they didn't publicize him. And I feel that they used George Floyd, who had a big rap sheet and who had certain circumstances happening that was questionable that led to his unaliving. Again, it's no excuse him being unalived like that. But who we rally for, it seems like we pity the criminal, but Blacks who living uh, righteous or goodly lives, godly lives are overlooked. I just start to wonder where's our mind going. So, yeah, we rally for Diddy. But yet all these people, it's like we rally for people who don't deserve your compassion. And I'm wondering, people, wake up. Wake up. I mean, all lives are important, but I just wonder where your priorities are. Is your priority for the righteous or the wicked? This is something that you have to decide for yourself. It's about doing the right thing. What is the right thing? If you see something that's not right, it'd be good to say something about it. But people are being like coerced or threatened. Hey, you better not say something. You better not say that you're in favor of so and so who might be a conservative. You get ganged up on. People are really taking advantage of our nature in America. All America just seems to be compromised emotionally. But stand your ground. I mean, stand your ground in the sense of do the right thing, do no harm. Don't deliberately do harm to people. It's okay to have a different opinion in a safe discord. If you disagree, respectfully disagree. It's okay to disagree. Just like husbands and wives have disagreements on opinions on things, how to raise the children, right? We all have our own styles and we all have things that motivate us. Yes, there are things that motivate me and there's things that motivate you. But one thing, the United States is one of the best countries in the world. And now it's under fire. It's under fire right now. And yes, I'm not in America right now. I left for my safety, but I am still an American and I still feel for America. And I want the safety for all Americans, regardless of your race or your politics. I want peace and the ability to support yourself for all Americans, all legal Americans, all lawful residences that live in America. I love the country, but I don't love what's happening. So please pray for America, especially today. It's 9/11. 9/11, that very fateful day. And a lot of questions behind who is behind it. Yep. And it's sad. Yeah, so please pray for America that it be healed spiritually. Please pray for America's is it's it's protection, to protect the minds of the people from harming itself, from harming each other. Peace and love to America this 24th anniversary. And peace and love to my new home in Rwanda, another nation that been through a lot 31 years ago. Beautiful people here. It's a beautiful country that's trying to find itself. Please pray for the people here, that people here find the finances to feed their families, to clothe themselves, and to get fresh drinking water and fresh food. I thank you again for listening to this second portion of this live stream. The first part I got disconnected during the live stream, and I had to quickly upload again to continue the conversation. Thank you again for listening. Peace, love, joy, and harmony to you all. Until next time, bye bye.